Let's see what we're doing today. New shit good? Nah. That world building project? Nope. Wait a fucking minute. Which one of you? Oh, right. It's just me. Fuck man, this run of shit's driving me insane. Anyway, we're talking about Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is definitely a game. A good game, bad game. Well, that's up to you. In my honest opinion, it's a collection of good ideas executed poorly. It's a game that we didn't really ask for, but got anyways, a game that has been wrapped up in controversy multiple times in its thus far short life, and today I want to go over the game's history and my thoughts on it, as we wait for the release of Wastelanders on Tuesday the 14th. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright, I'm just going to rip the band-aid off and start with the controversy. First off, there were no human NPCs. This is a Bethesda game, and a Fallout title at that. Fallout has always been about roleplay. Human and ghoul NPCs have always been a major part of that roleplay as they hand out quests, act as friends and foes, and fill out otherwise empty world spaces so that you have something to interact with other than shooting enemies. When it was announced that there would be no humanoid NPCs, most people began to worry just how quests would be given to players, and how often they would run into other players. We'll talk more about this later when we speak about gameplay. The game's beta was closed to pre-order customers and was an unusual take on early testing. Starting on October 23rd, 2018 on Xbox and the 30th for PC and PS4, the beta would be available to play on certain days for 2 to 8 hours. Now, if this seems like a bad idea to you, congratulations, you have some common sense. Closing the beta like this and restricting the amount of time servers would be online led to a situation where servers weren't properly ready for launch day. Some bugs were left unidentified, and the game would launch in a state that was nearly unplayable for some players. That's not to say that the beta itself didn't have its own issues. Like on PC, when on its launch day, the beta deleted itself from your PC if you clicked any of the buttons on the client. Yeah, that took a day to figure out. Next up is the canvas bags, and oh boy, we can't forget those. The game's Power Armor Collector's Edition came with a ton of stuff, most notably being a T-51B Power Armor helmet and a canvas duffel bag for the helmet. Or so we thought. You see, when the $200 Collector's Edition rolled out and arrived at players' doors just before Reclamation Day, people were shocked to find out that they'd been gypped. Their so-called canvas bags were made of nylon, but some people did get canvas bags later. After the internet exploded into fury, Bethesda said that they weren't going to do anything about it, which further caused a shitstorm. After that, they gave players $5 worth of currency for the game's atomic shop. This would stir out more trouble, as critics pointed out this couldn't even get you a mailman uniform, which came with a canvas bag on the model. Online influencers would later be gifted canvas bags, but that only stirred up more shit for Bethesda. Almost a month after release, on December 3rd, 2018, Bethesda announced that they'd produce canvas bags for all owners of the Power Armor Edition, and these bags wouldn't make it to players until June 2019, 7 months after the game launched. Weeks after launch, Bethesda chose to crack down on modders and cheaters. Those that had accessed the dev room, possessed duplicated items, or even used mods to fix graphical and technical issues found themselves in Bethesda's crosshairs. Many found their accounts terminated and received an email demanding that they explain how mods and cheating was damaging to online video games. This led to further backlash against the development studio, as many modders had simply downloaded fixes to address issues that Bethesda still hadn't addressed. Players also took it upon themselves to punish item dupers, leading to the deaths and harassment of many innocent vault dwellers. Also in 2018, a mere 2 days after announcing that the bags would be made, a breach was detected in Bethesda's support system. This breach allowed users to view the personal information of customers and edit or close out support tickets. Bethesda stated that this breach only revealed information that the support page would have asked you for while you were filling out your ticket. Due to the nature of these tickets, names, emails, and home addresses were leaked. Approximately 65 people were affected, subsequently noticed, and nothing else really came of it. And rounding out 2018 was the $80 Nuka Dark rum that Bethesda and Silver Screen Bottling partnered to create. The beverage was expected to be bottled in a replica Nuka-Cola bottle. Fans were, however, massively disappointed to find a normal glass bottle hidden inside a large plastic cover. This led to condemnation of the $80 price point because people expected a higher quality product for $80 fucking dollars. Throughout 2019, the game would steadily hemorrhage its player base. Updates and patches came and went. In the spring and summer of 2019, they added pay-to-win elements in the Atomic Shop, which was never supposed to go pay-to-win. These came in the form of repair kits and scrap kits. Repair kits would allow you to fix your gear on the go without accessing a crafting bench, and the scrap kits would break down junk items and automatically send the scrap to your stash. Wow. I really wish I could have those without having to pay for fucking that. I wish I could just craft those. But no, you gotta pay your atoms to do that, and if you don't do challenges, you're spending your real world money on that. And then on October 23rd, 2019, Bethesda made a fucky wucky. They made the biggest fucky wucky they could've. Fallout First. You see, Fallout First is a subscription service that costs $12.99 a month, or $99.99 per year. It gives you a few exclusive cosmetics, a survival tent, which allows you to fast travel to a closer place to stop your junk and your stash. That's kind of nice. It gives you the scrap box, which is an unlimited storage container for scrap. More pay to win. Awesome. 1,650 atoms for use in the store per month and access to private worlds. The real kicker, private servers were supposed to launch with the game for all players. Oof. This naturally kicked up a shitstorm. What you're seeing now is the website falloutfirst.com, an expression of one player's hate for the service. In December of 2019, Bethesda and Fallout 76 would struggle with hackers yet again, as they added their own NPCs to the game and stole players' entire inventories. Suffice to say, 76 has been in a bad way since launch. So, if the game has created so much controversy, is it any good? And if so, is it worth the time and money you're going to have to put into it? Well, that's kind of going to depend on what you want out of it. If you want a good Bethesda role-playing game, you may want to keep an eye on what people say about the Wastelanders update coming up this week, but if it's not particularly what you want, then you've got every other Bethesda role-playing game before. If you want a Fallout-themed Wasteland multiplayer survival game, it's got you covered. But if you want PvP, you're stuck with the nuclear winter battle royale mode because no one in adventure mode really wants to fight each other. The private servers took over survival mode, which was a more PvP focused adventure mode. And no one in adventure really wants to fight anyone unless they're setting up fight clubs, but you kind of got to be in the area and hear them over proximity chat, because we don't talk about Fight Club. Well, if there haven't been any NPCs for the last 18 months, the PvP is awful, there's no role-playing to be had, just what the hell are you supposed to do? Well, there are quests to be done. These can be acquired via holotapes and notes all across Appalachia, be it on a permanent corpse, a table, a footlocker, a terminal. Holotapes are everywhere, but not every one of them is a quest. Some are just journals and people crying about how shit the world is. Wow, sounds like celebrities right now during the Rona. There are also daily quests and public events that you can find. Daily quests are just updated right in your quest log upon logging in, and public events will let you know when they pop up. You and other players can complete the public events for more XP and better loot. The biggest issue is that these are kind of far and few between, and I don't mean figuratively either. The game world is fucking huge. It's bigger than Fallout 4's map. That's saying a lot. Speaking of the game world, it's also dreadfully empty. Sure, there are a lot of unique places to visit, but without human NPCs milling about, they all feel so dead. What's the point in visiting destroyed town number 3 if all there is to do is kill super mutants and ghouls? Just the other day I visited the Uncanny Caverns, and you know what was there? A few ghouls, some wolves. I kind of left the caverns feeling unimpressed and bored. There really isn't much to do, and that's the reason this game has lost so many players. The quests are also a bit vague. In the quest An Organic Solution, you have to find components to create Rad Shield, a more powerful, non-dilutable version of Rad-X. The step that took me the longest was the second one, where you have to locate bone meal. Seeing how I hadn't played the game in months, I had no context, and I spent about 20 minutes running around the search area banging my head against a wall. The optional objective was to install the tracker, but that didn't help either, as I had no idea that Ella's holotape had the tracking program that would have helped me. After stumbling upon a Deathclaw and killing it, I checked my quest description to find out that the bone meal was in the Deathclaw's nest. I'm not saying the game should put a big marker over the nest saying, hey, right fucking here, but maybe the objective should have been reworded. Instead of locate bone meal, it should have said, locate Deathclaw nest. At least that would have narrowed my search down to the shoreline and not had me checking the lake that occupies over 60% of the searchable area. Another incredibly vague side quest is the Overseer's mission, which simply states, the Overseer scouted ahead. Find her logs. I'm sorry, but that's incredibly fucking vague. Where did she go? How many are there? Is there a special objective I have to do in order to get one? You don't need to hold my hand on this one. I just want clues. Give me search zones for them. Maybe only one search zone at a time and have them pop up one after the other as you collect the holotapes. Because without a walkthrough, one cannot be expected to complete this quest intentionally in any reasonable amount of time. Because the game world is fucking huge and there are so many places to visit. Segues are weird, and so is base building. It's like how it was in Fallout in that respect, but you don't get a a lot of space to work with. Your build budget is extremely limiting, and the blueprint for your house could just tweak out at any moment and never work again after you move camp. Yeah, that's the thing that happens, and it happened to me. And I went without having a camp for a long time because I was just trying to put my house down, but something needed support and it wouldn't tell me what, even though the entirety of my house lit up green. Among other things, your turrets could tweak out and start destroying parts of your camp, including but not limited to walls, other turrets, barriers, generators, water purifiers, plants, Brahmin hay bales, and crafting benches. Your personal stash is an important part of any base, and as it contains all of your crafting ingredients, or crafting components and ingredients, unused gear and ammo. And when the game launched, it could only hold 600 pounds of stuff. Combine that with the base player carry weight of 200 and no way to sell things remotely, and you have a recipe for disaster. People constantly over encumbered. It's no shock that Discord servers like Fallout 76 Trading Hub became popular with players, and it still has an active base of over 5,000 people. Now, we have a stash weight of 800 pounds in shops that let us sell our loot from home nowadays, so that's neat. But this is where things get frustrating though. Fallout First members get access to that scrap box, that unlimited storage system for components, which is pay to win, because now all of those components aren't taking up hundreds of pounds of stash space. That hundreds of pounds of stash space I have in crafting components is really detrimental to me getting any kind of gear and gearing up when I get leveled up. It's pay to win in a full-priced game. A full-priced game that was promised to never have pay to win. They lied to us. That's fucking irritating. Gunplay is similar to Fallout's in that there's tons of customization, but this time it's easier to unlock. You got any spare weapons lying around? You got one that's better than those ones? It's the same type, and you just need new attachments for it? Well, scrap all those old ones and learn the new weapon attachments, you silly. That's not to say I'm not left wanting about the gunplay, though. Server-side lag kind of just eats my shots, and I've literally gone through an entire pump-action shotguns magazine without, hitting anything in VATS with a 95% hit chance. Yeah. The game used to have a more PvP-focused, quote-unquote, survival mode. Everyone had a timer on them that would tell you how long their life, or how long that they've been living, and there was a leaderboard of the 3 longest surviving players. And, the longer you survived, the larger the bounty on your head got, which led to some interesting gameplay. But that was until Fallout First came around, introduced private worlds, and yeetest deletest survival mode. Daily, weekly, and character-based challenges provide an opportunity to get XP and atoms for use in the shop. They can be of any difficulty and are found in both adventure and nuclear winter modes. Speaking of XP, let's talk about leveling up your character, because I want to talk about something good. Dear God. Every time you level up, you'll be given the option of choosing a perk card from a list of offerings depending on the stat. And depending on the stat the card is based on, you'll level said stat at the same time. Perk cards can be upgraded, increasing the number of perk points it costs to use them, which means you better hope that you have, leveled up that stat. Cards that complement each other allow you to maximize what your build offers. Traveling Pharmacy, Pack Rat, and Bandolier reduce the weight of chems, junk, and ammo respectively, allowing you to carry more loot without sacrificing health items, components, and ammo. Maybe you want to build a shotgun build, combining shotgunner, scattershot, skeet shooter, enforcer, luck of the draw, and bloody mess can all help you turn enemies into red smears against the fucking wall. The issue that I have is we can't save builds in some sort of loadout system. There's a mod on PC that allows players to do this called Perk Loadout Manager. That should definitely be a feature in the game, because I can't do that on console. And it's a really good idea for a feature. While perks are certainly the base of any good build, mutations take it to another level. Taking radiation damage is something most people who've played other Fallout games wouldn't want to do for fear of reducing their maximum health. However, the benefits could outweigh the negatives. For every 5 points of radiation you take, you have a 5% chance to gain a mutation. Every mutation has its pros and cons. Marsupial allows you to jump higher and carry 20 more pounds, but it reduces your intelligence by 4. Adrenal reaction increases your weapon damage at low health, but reduces your total health by 50. There are ways to get around this, though. The class Freak perk reduces negative effects by 50%. Rad-X suppresses the mutation entirely, while diluted Rad-X only suppresses the negative effects. Mutation serums can grant you a mutation and suppress the negative effects, but the suppression only lasts an hour. Consuming a serum when you already have a mutation will still suppress the debuff, though. Legendary gear is kind of the cherry on top. Every gun, melee weapon, and piece of armor you use will affect how much damage you deal and take. They will either complement your build or be a detriment. Speaking of legendaries, you should definitely head over to Purveyor Mamerg at the Berkeley Springs station. Using any of her legendary exchange machines at the train stations can turn your useless legendary gear into scrip, which can then be used to buy legendary gear from Mamerg, because it's the only currency that she takes. And back onto the bad. The game definitely isn't without its fair share of issues, and oh boy does it have some good ones. Day one there was a bug that made it so if someone on the server was over encumbered, when you died, not when they died, when you died, the only respawn marker on your map would be Vault 76. Which kind of makes getting back to your loot difficult because that costs money. It costs caps to fast travel. Why? Week 1 I ran into a big bug that showed my power armor as being equipped, like all the pieces of the power armor that I had on were like floating around my empty body. Because for some reason my body and the frame were not rendering, and according to the game, did not exist, removing my carry weight bonus and leaving me stranded, far from camp, and unable to exit the power armor. This, along with the other bug from day 1, took 2 weeks to fix. 2 weeks after launch in a quote-unquote hotfix, which also introduced more issues that we're not going to go over right now. There was also a visual bug that rendered people in power armor as extremely stretchy boys with no armor or frame around them, so their model was just their usual body warped into some like abomination. It was like Slenderman but with a face. And the game still has issues. The other day, my game just stopped making sound effects. Reloading made no sound. My power armor made no sound. My character did not grunt. The only sound effect I could get was the rain and the shooting sounds from guns. Yeah, that was interesting. Kind of creepy too, to be honest. It's weird without sound. The sky was missing textures at one point. I think that was later the same day. You can trip over absolutely nothing and take minor damage. You will randomly drop frames for no reason in the most unexpected of times, like walking in the middle of nowhere. But your frame rate will be fine when you're nuking a fuck ton of cars on accident. The pop-in is kind of ridiculous as well. Sometimes buildings just won't render, and then all of a sudden your character stops and you're like, why am I not moving? And then suddenly, bam, building in your face. It's like Halo 2 all over again. It's awesome. I love it. Just kidding. And, you'll get just caught on terrain a lot if you're mountain climbing. Well, going down mountains, I should say. Yeah. And I wasn't kidding about your turrets destroying your base either. I can't tell you how many times I've come back to camp and had to remove and replace objects so that they'd stop shooting my base. I think you get the point, though. It's kind of a mess. So what do I think? What's my opinion? Well, I love and I hate the game at the same time. I love the ideas that have been gathered in this game, minus the pay-to-win elements and the Battle Royale mode. So far, I've hated the execution and handling of it, though. It's a buggy, disjointed mess of concepts that could really be a good game if Bethesda were just to take the time and nurture it. I look forward to the Wastelanders update, and I hope that Fallout 76 can someday be the good game, or even a great game that we know it could and should have been. And when Wastelanders launches, I hope to see you there. You'll be able to catch me streaming some 76 over on mixer.com/awashgyt. Link will be in the description. And I'll be streaming at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Maybe I'll see you there. Maybe I'll meet you out in the Wastelands. Anyway, have a good one. Welcome to the outro. It's kind of obvious that I was drinking a little bit through this video because I was stumbling over my words and occasionally burped, had some oversights like ringers and notifications and stuff. Yeah. I'm kind of just here right now so that you guys don't have, pop-ups popping up over the last few minutes or seconds of the video, so peace.